All right, we are back. This is game 3 of week 1.5 of the 2021 Casuals Only tournament that took place in August 2021. This is last man on the hill on like driving on the railroad tracks, 8 minutes. So compared to some of the other games, it's a bit shorter. I'm once again joined by Walter Wight. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Doing good. All right. Are you? Let's just jump into this right now. All right. So we see with this nice looking magenta color, we have Team Spy with Walter White, General Pepper, Gerald Toad, and Overdose against the Spicy Slayers with Captain Reekfish, Empty Mint Chip, Father Xmas Drunken Deer, and Selah. Now, this is a last man on the hill game, 8 minutes, so it's a relatively short amount of time. Because of the game type, there's probably, most of this map is not going to be utilized. It'd probably just be a very middle centric game. Um, so, yeah, I mean, is there anything that you see going on here, Walter?
So this particular map is also kind of pathfinding centric. So it actually does have some very particular nuances. So yeah, like where you're at right now is in the middle, but no one can pass a certain point south or north. And so if you can sneak in a white, that can be a game changer, of course, on this map, particularly for one that is this center centric.
Okay.
So I guess that would be the only thing I would say is like, can someone sneak in anything?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see if anyone's up to the task, although it appears as though Team Reekfish has opted not to get any sneaky units, also known as whites. So he is not going to be sneaking around. He opted instead for what appears to be 4 warlocks, a couple of dwarven mortars, and a bunch of melee units, with, of course, a soulless pack and the trow. For Team Spy, we have quite a different unit set. We do have the same number of artillery with 4 warlocks and 2 dwarven mortars, but we also have what appears to be maximum heron guards and maximum myrmidons, however you say it, as well as 12 mercridia. Whereas, oh wait, um, yeah, Reekfish only had 8. No, he has 12. Sorry, but Reekfish did opt for mauls, whereas Spy opted for what appears to be maximum soulless and the myrmidons. So, which trade do you like better?
Well, I have to say that I actually helped Spy create his trade. So I like Spy's trade better, except for the fact that he's stuck now.
Yeah,
And
who's the idiot? Oh, that's Overdose. Yeah, there's no surprise there. But
and the fact that there's too many units. So in retrospect, now that I've gained a little bit more, I guess, experience, just capping large team games, I think there's too many units, and so I was thinking that basically, and I still love the trade. It just would be like if we were playing like an 8-on-8 game. I have a much, well, I guess Spy has a much better trade uh, than Reek, but Reek at this point has the advantage of minimal, I guess. So like he has high value units, but they can kill people that are just kind of not paying attention. And so I think that for this map, it would require a little bit of instruction to the team
Lost.
of like, this is what the goal is. But I think that at the end of it, Reek took the better tapping route of just um, kind of choose high value units and then spread them out, as opposed to try to do like something where you have a lot of units that you can actually kind of maneuver. So I don't know.
Okay, well, we're about a couple minutes in. What do you see in regards to the formations? You know, it seems like Overdose in very sort of newbie fashion has clumped together his Soulless, whereas on the other side, Reekfish is a bit more spread out, even though I think he has taken a little more damage and he's getting rushed by a couple of spy units. You know, we see.
So keep in mind, you guys are both clustered by those the walls on either side. So everyone is clumped initially. It's just a matter of players taking the extra time, I guess, to spread right after they reach those walls. You know, it's kind of like, why don't you spread out as opposed to get clustered? Yes, you are vulnerable, but at the same time, um, technically on your overhead at this point, you probably haven't even seen the first warlock of the blue team. So while all of your Soulless overdose are clustered, you haven't seen the first Soulless yet. Sorry, the first warlock yet. And so then, like, you are in the process of spreading yourself out, but you're also engaged in a fight, and you are still too clustered. But wow,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean,
you see it, you know.
anyway, so yeah, it appears as though nobody was willing to get a Wight, and so there won't be any nasty surprises. However, of course, that deep water still might come into play because of the Soulless, who you know, are sort of all-terrain units. And what I will say is that, you know, General Pepper, who has the Trow for Team Spy, as well as a handful of Mercridia, he has what appears he has pushed off uh, Drunken Deer, even though it looks like Father Xmas is in the midst of firing a Dwarven mortar shot at General Pepper's Mercridia. So we'll see if he'll be able to connect with that. And you know, apart from that, I think we see some Geraltoad warlocks who are stuck. And even if they're not stuck, they are going to be completely ineffective because of this deep
The
water.
question was, why were they down there? Yeah,
Yeah, and so, you know, I'm not really sure what he's doing there. Not really sure what Selah's doing, running a bunch of units around here. If he's trying to flank, then he's actually going to have to run all the way around and sort of through this little castle area and then around this way. I don't
I
know
think it
if.
all comes down to everyone's lack of understanding of this map. And so I think that they wanted to like think that they could take a flank, and then in their head it was like, well, I'm on the south flank, so I'll just keep going with that. Except it'll take them an hour and a half to get to the middle.
Yeah, and especially in an 8-minute game where, you know, there's 6 minutes left. You know, there's no guarantee that's going to actually do anything good. Although we have seen people sort of tuck their artillery units in the back, only to see them get annihilated by just a couple of soldiers on a flank. So maybe it is worth the what
The
did you say,
effort.
that 25, 30 unit points or something, and send them around back. But anyway, I think we've said enough. Let's get to the action. Yep, that mortar shot is going to do quite a bit of damage to General Pepper. These Mercuridia are now damaged.
Flag captured.
And Team Reekfish takes the flag.
And so the purple team does seem very consolidated, easy targets. And it does seem, so who's running the blues crew?
That is Reekfish.
Rick is doing a great job. That is exactly what you want from your crew runner, is basically to draw all the fire. He's doing all of the work for the blue team, allowing the blue team to spread out and surround.
Yeah, he's giving them the
And he's kept the
opportunity to
flag.
surround, but will he surround? That's the issue. We see Selah again stuck in this sort of south area. Not really sure what he's planning on doing. All he can really do is just fire a couple of fireballs across the river, but since they are out of range, don't know how.
Whereas the purple team is just kind of just waiting.
Yeah, I think the purple team is content with the artillery fight.
And every time Overdose tries to bring up his Solus, they're met immediately with blocks that can counter it. And if anything, a throw that's getting in the way of.
Yeah, we see a good
that was a good shot that was a great shot
by good old Walter Wight, taking a few Solus out. But yeah, I mean,
I actually thought that was you.
No, I'm just the Solus. I think I really just like one type of unit. You have this melee force as well as 2 warlocks. But yeah, this is really just a artillery battle so far.
Well, you're trying to press the matter and show it, because sometimes it's hard to type in game and.
Well, I'm pretty sure we were all on voice chat. So.
Yeah, it seems like it.
But yeah, one thing that happened while we were talking was that these Reekfish Solus rotated to the south from the north.
That was a really good move.
And yeah, Overdose's Solus are still kind of stuck in the middle. If he were to spread out into a line formation, he would inevitably cross in front of one of these warlocks, potentially, leading to the destruction of a lot of friendly units. So,
the big thing that we need to see from either Reek or is it Spy that's running the trail?
No, that's General Pepper.
General Pepper. From either of them. Actually, either of them could have been doing a much better job from either of their team to change the entire trajectory of this just by fucking putting some pressure on. Because you also have the heals from the Herons, and at the end of the game, no one's going to be healing the trail. And so, you really need to be pressing the matter. It's like the people that are running essentially the highest value unit really need to be doing something to do anything and deserve it. It just. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you see Selah, perhaps veteran experience, saying, let's try to block him with Trow and Rush. I don't think he's getting any responses. Perhaps he wasn't on voice chat. I'm not really sure why he was typing out that message. But, certainly Selah's veteran instincts were correct when, he was saying that, something needs to happen. Why don't we be the ones who take the initiative? And it appears as though, after Overdose lost a couple of Soulless. Drunken Deer, I think, lost a Heron or 2.
1 minute.
We're approaching the 1 minute mark, and, I get the feeling that there's no flanks. It's just it's going to be a head-on-head contest, and we will see. You know,
Will you and you see where the passes are? It all comes down to a funnel in the middle. So, like, do we just want to all rush each other,
yeah. I mean,
or
it's going
can
to
we get a
be
touch
it's going
on
to be the
the?
unstoppable force versus the immovable object here. We see Overdose with a nice volley of that's not good. Who is that? Walter White with a friendly warlock shot.
That was my bad, but at the same time,
Yeah,
it's 30 seconds left.
and now we have Selah with a great warlock shot against General Pepper's Macridia, nearly wiping them all out. It appears as though that was another friendly shot by Geralt. This has gone very bad for Team Spy. Many, many friendly fire things, and it appears as though Team Reekfish has a lot more.
Somebody healed the one destroying all of us.
A lot of melee units, and yeah, I think
Absolutely.
this one's over.
And the one friendly fire shot actually did about only 2 damage total that I did, but
Yeah, but the
it's
problem is that
still like
there were
it
multiple
was the
friendly fire.
morale. It was the
I believe it
morale.
was Geralt as well as perhaps Overdose with some friendly javelin throws.
No, I think you did fine. It just the end of game was
Game over.
Yeah.
there was so much that we could have done in retrospect, but wow, yeah.
All right. So I mean, yeah, that was kind of a bit of a lull. Just kind of some slow back and forth until the last 30 seconds or so when it was just a mad rush to the flag, which is sort of true for a lot of Last Man on the Hill games. What I will
That
say.
is Spy's favorite map. Like if he gets to choose, he chooses that, which I don't think is bad. It's just there's a lot of elements to it, and I almost wish it's not a center heavy map because, and I don't know if that's right or wrong because there were a lot of cool nuances to it, but the ultimate thing was like we're all funneled into one area and that map has a lot of subtlety. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say that most Last Man on the Hill games, regardless of what map it is, it's going to be center centric. If you just cut and paste
It's
this,
just a matter of is it like northwest, east, south, or is it like all 8 areas can come in at once? You know,
yeah, I mean, this is definitely one of the more congested maps, but I don't think it's really anything that we haven't seen before. In fact, you might argue that it was more open than a map like If I Had a Trow, where you have this sort of similar flag in the middle with some deep water, except instead of going all the way to the top of the map to get across, you really just have to, go
that
up
is true.
on this curve, even though you do have to take this nice village tour and then come out the other end and then go all the way around. It is kind of
Well, I think I was wrong at the beginning by saying that either team had the ability to trade for a white, but if either team did, like that would change the entire landscape of this game late on, especially during a Last Man on the Hill. So this actually could be like kind of one of those always nail biting Last Man on the Hills for a 2 team. So I guess I take it back. Yeah, I think that's amazing. That's cool.
yeah. I mean, I thought this map was interesting. I thought the unit sets were okay, and it played out more or less as expected. I don't remember who threw this map into the map playlist of potential games, but it wasn't an entire failure, as we would see in future games. I don't want to give away too much, but we will see some funky choices by some funky people, and I'll leave it at that. But is there anything else you want to add? Who would you choose as the MVP of the game?
Oh, that is going to be a very hard choice. I got to go with Reek. I think Reek just, hey, I mean, he nailed the damage for his team, but also, he was cap, and it wasn't because he was running pro. The Tro did almost nothing this whole game.
The
So,
Tro is Drunken Deer, so
well, no, I know. And I'm
okay,
saying, or for the blue team, who is the blue team's Tro?
yeah, Drunken Deer.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, and so yeah, Reekfish just he was the cap and he just killed it.
I believe he was just the soulless, and if you recall, there was sort of a stalemate between Reekfish and Overdose on either side of the northern part of the flag, and then he sort of rotated to the south, and I think he and Selah caused a little bit of destruction. Perhaps he might have caught a couple of artillery units off guard and gotten them. And then in the end of the game, I mean, Reekfish is again, north of the flag. So, I mean, he was moving his Solus all around, trying to find opportunities where he could, causing as much chaos as he could. And, when it was all said and done, he accumulated 71 damage with, I believe, just those Solus. So, it was a great performance by him, as well as perhaps any leadership ability that would go unnoticed. Because we were all on voice chat. But
What I would say, based on if no one was on voice chat and no one had um, any idea of what units they were getting, whoever gets the Solus, I think it's always going to be. I feel like on maps like this, like the percentage is going to seem low, but the Solus are the most important part of the pro battle. And so if you can get even a newbie player or a moderately sufficient player to understand that if you can work in conjunction with your Tro, you're gonna win the game because the Solus kind of can work around the fact that it's the Tro are basically the tallest units. You can't shoot over them, so you have to get around. But your whole goal is to take out the other team, and it's really evident in games like this when people that are terrible at running Solus either they're just trying to get hit points where they can, or they're just like kind of new, or they're actually able to really hit the shot.
yeah, okay, yeah, and another thing I just want to touch on really quick was Reekfish decided to get about a dozen or so mauls or something, whereas Spy, perhaps under your influence, instead got at least 16 or something Myrmidons, who
Exactly. Yeah.
are a bit on the brittle side, and I don't think had much of an impact on the game. Do you think that might have been a mistake on Spy's part?
I think it was a mistake on my part to influence him on that way, but just to get like the Myrmidons, because in an open field, Myrmidons can take down Trow similar uh, to Solus, but in this where it's just like a very tightly constrained space, and it's basically, I mean, I guess it's sort of like playing who's got the bigger dick for a few minutes, as opposed to King of the Hill, which is like, well, we just have to prove it right now, always. Let's do it, and it's a stupid game type. Last Man on the Hill is sort of like this subtle like whose army is better, and I think that malls can be better sometimes on in that respect for sure, especially on this map.
Yeah, and especially when a game comes to a mad rush to the middle, and just the amount of punishment that malls can take certainly makes them, you know, um,
Allows you to like also waste the mana and things from block.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely. So I think one mall at 4 unit trading points is absolutely worth. The Myrmidons were probably two apiece, so I would much rather have one mall than two of those things going into a game like this. But like I said in one of those other games, those mauls are the offensive linemen of Myth, and you heard it here first. I think mauls are extremely underrated units, and they need to get a little more love.
I do think you're right, and I'm hating you for it. But I mean, the more it's proving, I do think you're right.
Yeah, well, these are also just the ramblings of somebody who's extremely terrible at Reg Myth as well. So maybe I'm just trying to sell you some snake oil here. I don't know, but anyway, yes, we are both in consensus that Reekfish was the MVP of the game. Excellent leadership ability, excellent soulless performance, and he really,
And capping, choosing the right unit. So
yes, a good unit trade, and yeah, it was just a very good performance by Reekfish, who I believe just through sheer will led himself to his first victory of the game, and I believe that Geralt Toad and Overdose may be the only players so far who have not won a game. Obviously, that is not a good thing. However, I'll keep reminding you guys that this is week 1.5 as sort of a catch-up week, and so if Geralt or Overdose or anybody else do worse this week than they did in week 1, then their score will not count going into week 2. So these are sort of consequence-free games for the most part. Anyway, is there anything else you'd like to add?
no, I think that sums it up. But I also think I actually think it's weird to like say because it is casuals, so it doesn't kind of matter how the scores add up for us. It's just kind of a matter of us like trying to get better and or play for fun.
Yep, exactly. It's all about having fun. Some of us, it's not about getting better because we've already sort of peaked. But yeah, there it is. Yeah, well, so we'll see you next time.